Do 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 do. Welcome back. Welcome back, y'all. How y'all doing today? Welcome back to another episode of the Zolyin podcast where we talk about books, brains, and blockchains and everything in between. That's changing soon. We'll be talking about other stuff in the future as well. Shifting into gears into something that I like always talking about. In my spare time and everything is a lot of this a lot of this stuff that has to do with fantasy falling apart on on the news and from Hollywood, all these big projects that they spend millions upon millions, hundreds of millions to possibly billions on. Listen, uh, I have a really dark thing to give you. I have to give you a bit of a black pill, and it's a reality check. It's not really a black pill. It's kind of a reality check, and I think there's a silver line to it. Okay, so I'll give you the good. I'll give you the bad. We'll see. We'll see where you go with this. We'll see where you if you agree or you disagree, and that's fine if you disagree. Um, Here's the thing. I think it's enough time has passed that we have to let some things go. Okay, and what I mean by that is I think it's time to let go of the expectation or maybe even the hopes, right? The hopes, the investment, the emotional ego investment of having, hoping that these fantasy shows from these fantasies, these fantasy shows from Hollywood, you know, turning out okay. I think it's over. I think it's over. I think it's over. I don't think you can expect these guys to make a good um, show anymore. I think the cat's out of the bag. I think we have to be okay with, fantasies being primarily from the source material, the books. The best version of them, right? Uh, just read fantasy, bro. Hashtag just read fantasy, bro. I know that sounds really kind of. I think it's a good thing. It's got both sides to it. On one hand, it's sad the old days of yore we pine for, where a show would come out adapting a book, being good. I think that's kind of over. I think we have to leave that behind. Unfortunately, unless you are, exclusively, looking at uh, fan projects. I think the hope of having like these big, kind of shows is over. Like you should just look at fan projects if you want to look at fantasy materials that are, fantasy like actual live action stuff. Just look at YouTube videos of people who are fans of the product actually making like their own little fan story, their own fan show. I know that's really sad and it's really dark, but I think there's two parts to it. But first, let me go ahead and tell you how I got to this reality. So first of all, I want to tell you guys I always like to give things a chance. Okay, I always like to give things a chance. Keep an open mind in general. Even after the whole Star Wars Last Jedi thing happened, even after all that and all the drama, I don't even want to say the W word. I'm just gonna say drama about it. About all that stuff. And how bad it was, and how people are like trying to gaslight the fans. Um, I really wanted this stuff to work, right? And so when I saw that falling apart and how bad it was, because again, even with people telling me it was gonna be bad, I wanted to give it a shot. These new shows a shot, and I did. I gave them a shot. For example, I watched Wheel of Time. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. And I wanted it to work, and it just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. Now, was it the worst thing I ever seen? No, it wasn't. But with hundreds of millions of dollars under your belt, you should be able to produce something at least good. If not great. People's standards have kind of, be honest with you, went down over time. I remember when the fans back in the day were like, if it ain't got this 100% of the book, it's over. Now fans are just grateful if it entertained them. You know what I mean? Like they're just Now they're just grateful it entertains them. That tells you already. That already tells you where we are, you know. Things have gotten so bad that people are just asking, did I feel entertained? No. Oh, it's over then. You know what I mean? So that's bad. Um, I kind of think it's good that people have adjusted their expectations a little bit. And be a little bit more realistic about what they're gonna get. But at the same time, there's a limit to realism. Realism is like, okay, I expect within your budget to do at least something that's entertaining. I feel like I didn't waste my time. I feel like I had somewhat of the experience of the novel presented to me in a visual format. If you veer off the novel too far, then it's just not gonna be the novel anymore. It's its own thing, and if it's its own thing, then make your own thing up. What are you doing? Just make your own thing up, which is another thing we'll talk about in the future. Just make your own thing up. I don't understand Hollywood. Why are you so slow at this? It's like you pick up the ball. Come on, make your own thing up. If you don't like it, if it's bad, then yeah, you need to change that clearly, right? That's the elephant in the room. Stop making shortcuts. Stop buying these properties and thinking that this is a quick hitter. It's not. You're gonna it's only gonna degrade your brand name even more, even further. So pining for the old days is kind of over. I think it's time to kind of move forward as far as sure, you can still have your expectations. Not saying for you to lower your expectations, but what I'm saying is your own personal ego investment shouldn't be that these shows are going to be good. Because I honestly, I look at it like this: if the show's review as bad, the likelihood that it is bad is really high. At this point, I would say almost 1-to-1 now, because every show people have been complaining about, you go and you check it out and you're like, oh, this show is actually bad. Oh wow. Now obviously sometimes I could see someone saying, well, this one was overblown, and that's like the minutia. They always point at like specific types of YouTubers, which I just go, why are you watching those YouTubers in the first place? There's a ton of other of the whole ocean of YouTubers that exist, and there's an ocean of them, right? Why are you looking at the big main ones when you could be looking at somebody, a little bit off the beaten path, who will give you a more rounded review of the thing, and you'll watch it and you'll be like, yeah, that's accurate. And it's the same points. The same points are being made, but they're made better because the person really wants to grow, right? As opposed to like a big brand name business that's already, exploded, and now they're just putting out videos, right? And so I don't know. People are just really bad at arguing against the shows being bad. I think it's just a really. I think these days it has to do with definitely the younger generation, kind of like finding their own voice, finding their own, being able to debate online, during a live, like while everybody sees you on social media. It's hard to like find your voice. I feel bad for these young people. They're trying to formulate their arguments and it's all bad. It's like, go back to the drawing board. Go do this privately. Don't come out here in the public with these bad ideas, these bad like arguments. Anyways, one of the things that made me realize this show, the TV is kind of done, like TV Hollywood is over, is that Wheel of Time, for example, was like okay at best, and I say that in the nicest possible way without like outright saying it was terrible, because it was not good. But I'm trying to be as fair to it as possible. It deviated clearly from the book very early, right away, basically. And I just was like, wow, you guys couldn't even get one season in without veering from the book, veering from the actual story, becoming a reimagining instead of an adaptation. And I think that's the biggest issue. These live action adaptations from like Netflix and Amazon and all that stuff, they're just not good. They're just reimaginings. If anything, they're reimaginings. They're not adaptations. They're not actual like interpretations of like a translation, right? Let's put it that way. It's an interpretation, not a translation. Let me correct myself there. And so the shows become below average as a result of that. You can see the egos of the creators, and the producers involved in it. There have been claims of ESG profits, which we'll talk about that in the future. I don't want to get into it. That this show will be like an hour long if I do that. And so you see that these pieces coming together of like why the shows truly exist. Kind of throwing in an ideology under the table. You have the show and then the ideology, whatever the ideology that they want to put under the table, they put under the table. And so it's really unfortunate that that's where we are. I want to give you a quick example for like the money that they're spending and the returns that they're getting to kind of demonstrate why these shows are not good. Like I'll give you an example. Rings of Power. Let's do Rings of Power real quick. Okay, so Rings of Power spent about 250 million, right? Amazon spent about 250 million for the Rings of Power to get like that license, right? And so just getting that license, by the way, that's crazy. That much for just the license. Here is what they have rights to. They have the rights to they have rights to the it's so sad. The Fellowship, the Two Towers, the Return of the King, the Appendices, and the Hobbit, right? They don't have rights to the Silmarillion and the Unfinished Tales, the History of Middle Earth, or any of those other books, right? And so what bothers me about that is, what's the point of buying the rights to something that's already been put out? People already seen those formats. They can go read the books or they can go ahead and watch the movie, right? And obviously, if they want to watch something clearly, they could watch your show. That's fine. I get that. It's not gonna be the same. I get that. But my point of this argument is that, like, you are rehashing the same thing. You are rehashing the exact same thing that already came out in the films. They could just watch the films and they can save themselves time, and they could probably save themselves a subscription, because this is all they have really at the moment. That's quote unquote popping, and it's really eye opening how they were like, yeah, we spent this much on that stuff, but we didn't get the rest of the stuff just because they didn't want to spend more money. They knew it was going to cost more money. And I'm just like, why did you just not buy? I'll buy. First of all, you're Amazon. Why do you care about the money? If you already spent 250 million and you make billions, especially after Katana struck, you can watch my Katana series about Katana. When Katana already struck, and everyone had the shutdowns and everything, then why are you, concerned? And you made like these billions. Why are you concerned with like 100 extra million or 200 extra million or whatever? Like, you already spent 250 million, so clearly money is not a big deal for you. So just get the whole thing or don't do it at all, right? That way you have the ultimate freedom of whatever story you want to tell. And so I think it's gonna be a very interesting like wake up call for a lot of people. I truly think that it's gonna be one of those times where people are going to have to either come to grips with the fact that this is not we're never going back to like days of like Hercules or Xena. And Xena, I know people think, oh, Xena had some woke stuff. Not really. It was way more for titillation and more of the entertainment factor than anything else. Let's be honest. The stuff that they put that you could consider woke was actually, if you rewatch it today, the woke people will not like it. The woke people will not like it. It is not PC. It's like I recently rewatched that. I was like, yeah, this is not gonna be liked by a lot of them. My point of that is we can't go back, and I think I've come to grips with that, and I'm at this point okay with it. I have a follow up to this video in the future. We'll talk about the more about the white pill behind it, the positive silver lining behind it, right? I think there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you like this, let me know. Tell me in the comment section. Share the video. Appreciate your time. God bless you. And actually, hold on one second. I will see you next time. Take it easy.